Good evening. This is the Art Scene. I'm your host, Lila Snow. Tonight, I'm going to start with 3 very different issues, or they seem different, but really are connected. And the first is Jane Goodall, who went to study chimpanzees. And at first, they treated her as an intruder, and she realized that she had to become part of the chimp community. So you actually see her sitting in a tree, and because of that, she discovers all kinds of things that people did not know, people who studied chimpanzees. She sees them taking a branch and clearing it and using it to poke an anthill to get food. Now, people thought that humans used tools and chimpanzees did not use tools. So she discovered really some incredible information. She was there a long time. She got married, she had a son there. She noticed that there was an aging matriarch who kept 2 opposing factions from interacting and hurting each other. And after she dies, they end up killing each other and becoming extinct. So it's interesting that the role of one of the elders can keep that from happening. So the other human to other species issue that I want to talk about is Temple Grandin, who is an autistic woman. She doesn't talk until she's 4. Her mother is told to institutionalize her and just chalk her off, but her mother stays with her and watches out for her. And she has an aunt who has a cattle ranch. And she goes there and she notices all kinds of things. Here again, the human to another species. She notices that the cattle turn their ears, and sometimes they make noises because they're stressed, and sometimes they don't make noises. And she says, why do they do that? And she notices that they like to move in a circular motion. So she changes the whole cattle industry. And this is a money-making thing. And it's run by men who aren't used to listening to women, let alone an autistic woman who finds it difficult to explain herself. And as far as making money, her suggestions cost money. She notices that as they walk through the path to be slaughtered, she realizes they have to be slaughtered, but she says, treat them with respect. If they can see out through the slats of the path, they get upset. So she suggests putting in more slats. That costs more money, so they're reluctant to do it. But it changes the whole thing. They make a circular path. They walk through a water bath to remove insects. And a couple of them usually drown, like 2 out of 100. So they think, okay, 2 out of 100. But she devises a bath that calms them down. And it's just incredible. And just before the slaughter, they're put into a contraption that squeezes them. And she asks about that, and they say that calms them. And she is somebody that can't stand to be touched or hugged. And she makes a contraption like that for herself. and it does calm her down. So she's at a boarding school, and her roommate objects the contraption is unsightly, and they want to expel her. They throw out the contraption, and here again, her mother steps in, talks to the authorities, and they get her a blind roommate. So here again, you see how two handicapped people can work together and help each other. Of course, the blind woman doesn't think the contraption is unsightly. So there are all these insights into the way people behave, and they can notice things about other species, which brings me to 90 Day Fiancé, where people from other cultures have no ability to understand the other culture, whereas Jane Goodall and Temple Grandin were able to understand other species. By the way, Temple Grandin in the film is played by Claire Danes, who plays a CIA agent in Homeland, a very different role. And she does it so well. In fact, I saw Temple Grandin herself, and I thought it was Claire Danes, because that's exactly how she acts in the film.
Oh, 100,000,000% improvement in handling of cattle.
My name is Temple Grandin. I'm not like other people.
So in 90 Day Fiancé, talk about understanding another species or someone from a third world country. There are people from Nigeria, from the Philippines, from the Dominican Republic. Nicole, who goes for a year with her daughter, her 3-year-old daughter, May, she's going to live in Morocco for a year because she wants to marry Assad, who's Moroccan. And she comes there and she wears tank tops in a Muslim country. He keeps telling her, you can't do that because of the culture here. She says, oh, I thought you would want to show me off. She wants him to kiss her in the streets. So this total inability to understand that you don't do that in a country that doesn't, where the religion doesn't allow that. But then the thing that really got me is she lives with his family. His family speaks French and Arabic. And after 2 months, she says, I have no one to talk to because his family still hasn't learned English. It's up to them. She's living in their country. It's up to them to learn English so she can talk. She should go to a language class, and May should go to a play group. But the thing that really did it for me was the couple. He's not from a third world country. He's from the Netherlands. He lives in Amsterdam. What could be more sophisticated or developed? She goes there. He's 24. She's just turned 43. He has her running up the steps in windmills to show that she can't keep up with him. She's on a bike. And then they're constantly fighting. Then he goes to New York. He wants to see New York. So she's a successful fashion person. She's always dressed up. She's taking him to an expensive New York hotel in a limo, and he arrives in a sweatshirt with a hood, and the message is, I'm not doing anything special to please you. And she keeps saying, I think a proposal is coming soon. He gives her a ring, and he says, this is not an engagement ring. She says, is it a pre-engagement ring? Is it a promise ring? Is it a friendship ring? And then she shows him a billboard, which would be the perfect place for him to propose to her. they're in the limo. He looks out the window and says, I want to see all the sights of New York, but you don't know anything about it. He's a put-down artist. And she doesn't read the messages. She's going to be the boss. They order a pizza, and she says, you fold it. And he says, I'm not going to fold it. Everything is a setup for him to slap her down. It's just absolutely unbelievable how incompatible they are, from two humans from two developed countries. So I just thought that was an interesting comparison. So on to art. Group 93, it's a group that gets together to talk about art. There are some faculty members, some artists with MFAs, some artists with BAs, and some who just took some courses in the open program at American University. It's led by Luciano Pinay. He talks about tonality and composition. He's very lively, and it's great fun to exchange ideas. They are having their fall show at the Katzen Center at AU in the Rotunda. And also, I recently discovered audio books. As it gets tiring to read, I found that putting it in a CD disc and listening to it is a relaxing way to read a book. And in fact, sometimes they do it as a performance piece. In the 50s in New York, there used to be performances where the characters just sat on chairs and read the parts, so without staging it as a play. And that's what you get. Montgomery County libraries have quite a selection. I mean, some are classics, F. Scott Fitzgerald, but some are people I never heard of. And so I discovered some new writers. They're not always gems, but they're entertaining. I'll tell you about them next time. And also next time I want to talk about, speaking of not writing gems, Omar Panak, the Turkish writer, got the Nobel Prize in Literature when he was quite young. You have to be alive. So by giving it to him when he was young, they bypassed John Updike and Philip Roth, who died not getting it. And he now has a new book, The Museum of Innocence. It's a different community, so maybe the Nobel Committee liked hearing about a wealthy Turkish family. He lives in an apartment house with his grandparents' parents, and lots of servants who want to please him. So that's an interesting, different take. And so also I should mention that Ishiguro, an anglicized Japanese writer who was given the Nobel Prize, and the Japanese thought if they think they're showing what Japanese culture is like, it's not so, because he's too anglicized, and it should have gone to Murakami. So I'll see you next time on the art scene. This is Lila Snow.